You definitely wouldn't know it to look at me this day and age that back when I was in middle school, I was actually really physically fit. And I kept myself sort of rigidly trained in running and keeping myself just almost athletic. I never really had any sort of interest in athletics or sports or anything like that. When I was a kid, I thought I had interest in it, like because it was something my grandfather was pouring over me, baseball, his love of baseball and basketball and all this kind of stuff. And I played basketball a little bit in middle school, but I never really had a desire for it. And yet, oddly enough, because of the just hellish school environment I was in, I had actually moved from one town to another, and moving to this other town required me to, start going to another school that was in that county because it was two different counties, and I wasn't on the same curriculum when I entered this hellish school. And so, I mean, it was being belittled by teachers after a while and being bullied and belittled by kids. I was a loner. I was very much on my own. I couldn't talk to my parents at that time. I really wasn't that close with them. Even though they were awesome parents, we just didn't communicate that well. And it was something I would, evolve into later. And even, talking about being physically fit, for those of you who are familiar with sort of my history with the Blues Brothers tribute band, I had been working with two different partners at two different times and learning all the dance moves. I was very stringent about getting the dance steps and the performance down and getting my lung capacity, to be able to carry the weight of singing for like up to an hour and a half. It takes a lot of breath out of you and stuff like that. And I had learned to sort of, carry over what I was doing exercise-wise, where I was training myself to just run as fast as I could. And I would actually do sprints in front of my house from one side of the property to the next. And, go back and forth, time myself, try to beat my own time and everything like that. And so it was interesting when I was in this hellish school that come gym class, I really didn't want to participate. I didn't want to have to take the showers, change into the gym clothes, all of that stuff. And I was becoming sort of a rebel. It's kind of like the Andy Dufresne dialogue from Shawshank Redemption, where I had to go to the bad school before I was becoming the bad kid. It was just a horrendous experience. And some of those teachers were really verbally demeaning, calling names and such like that. And the same could be said for the coaches, who weren't supportive at all. It was, you're going to do what you're told or you're going to regret it and that kind of thing. And I was not the type of person ever in my life to be told you're going to do something or else, and then I'd falter and do that thing. I would do anything in my power to avoid at all costs doing whatever that thing was. You tell me I have to, there's no way in hell I'm going to do it. And so I would sometimes skip gym class, and there were times where they would have you as punishment if you were caught, or the next time you had to go to class, you were risking expulsion or something. So you had to go out into the middle of the field in the 98-degree weather and stand on a cement slab for the entire course of the class, or you could participate. And many times I was out in the middle of that field, dehydrating, and probably, added to the health problems I would have later in life, which would involve a back injury and leg problems. I can't walk for long periods. I can't stand for long periods, and all this kind of stuff these days. I'm sure it was a contributing factor. But on one occasion in particular, I remember the coaches being particularly scathing to I and two of my friends who, we were sort of like a little posse because we were loners and we were all we had was each other, and we were tired of the class, and one of those kids would eventually be sort of, yelled at by his father, and so he started participating again. Then it was just me and the one guy, and then some other people joined the group and everything like that. But I digress. The point of the story being, there was this one occasion where these two coaches, they saw us coming, and we were going to go sit on the bleachers out by the field, the track and field area of the school. And they were making, derogatory comments along the lines of, yeah, you guys are just fat and lazy, you're ugly, you're not going to do anything. That's why, you can't win if you run around the track and blah, blah, blah. And one of these coaches actually called us faggots for not participating. How that guy still has a job, if he does, is beyond me. How he continued to work for the school weeks and months after that was beyond me, because I let my parents know and they let the school know, and there was talk of litigation. And what it sort of, the compromise eventually led to was my getting out of that school and going back to a better one in a different county. And then laws would subsequently be made so that couldn't happen for other students who were stuck in the school. But on this particular day where he called us this, I had had enough. I was like, look, I can run faster than probably any of these asshole kids that I'm stuck in this class with. And the coach is like, yeah, sort of in a put your money where your mouth is situation. He's like, yeah, well, let's see. I'll tell you what. You go around the track once, then you can sit out the rest of the class and I won't hassle you. So I get up at the starter position and they're, on your mark, get set, go. And I lunge and I start running. But I'm not stupid. I already know from the training I'm doing at home, doing those sprints across my yard and everything like that, that you have to pace yourself. You don't want to get winded and then completely fall flat on your face. So as we're running, I'm keeping myself in third position. There's like 5 or 6 of us running. And I'm keeping myself third, and I'm keeping just behind number 2. And about halfway across the track, around this circle, I start edging out number 2. Number 2 is starting to get winded. Number 1 is also starting to get winded because they're just thinking, go, 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 as fast as you can the whole way. And so at this point, as we're rounding the last quarter of the track, and keep in mind I only have to go around once, I launch into full speed. And it's not even the full speed that I can go, but it's faster than I need to go because, these 2 jackanapes that are now following behind me in 1 and 2, now 2 and 3 positions, I just launched ahead of them, and I didn't need to even worry about it because they were just about, there was no training, there was no actually gauging, and pacing themselves and everything. And I came in first by like 30, 40 seconds or whatever it was, maybe 25, 30 seconds. And this coach just kind of was like slack-jawed, like watching me walk past. And I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something like, you happy now? Because I managed to run this track, one whole circle, and I beat everybody who was running. And that wasn't even like the gist of it. It wasn't like, win or whatever. But I was first, and I was first by several seconds. And that was simply because I could do the running. I was training at home. I was physically fit. There was no fear on my part, as this guy was trying to say. And I loved that. I loved the incredulous look on this guy's face as I climb up those bleachers and I sit my ass down, hunky-dory, and I just cross my arms. And I'm like, yeah. You saw it. You saw what happened. And I relished that moment because it was the first triumph that was actually achieved that didn't involve skipping class, breaking into lockers, and such like that, which I was slowly devolving into doing because of just the negative environment of this school. I ran that track. I beat everybody who was running alongside me. And I put that, excuse my French, cocksucker coach in his place. As far as I was concerned, and even my friends, they didn't even know that I was that fit, that I could run that fast and everything. And I kind of missed those days. I had to run for a bus recently. That was a mistake, put it that way, with the back and the leg pain and everything. But yeah, at least one time in my life, I could make a coach, a really asshole teacher or coach, eat crow. And that was awesome.